Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Right, so in this lesson I'm going to take a look at the main chordal hook from Chains Around Your Heart by Setzer. So it's not necessarily complicated and it uses, sort of basic chords, but the way Brian kind of voices them is perhaps a little different than we're used to. So let's take a quick look at the chords first. So we just have a regular E major, open 6th string, 5th fret, open 6th string, 2nd fret on the 5th string, 2nd fret on the 4th, 1st fret on the 3rd string, and open 2nd and 1st strings. We next move to this kind of A chord, which I kind of like call an A add 9, but we've got this E also in the bass. So, I think of this, if we think of this kind of A, it's like an A suspended 2nd. So I've got my first finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and now with my little finger I play the 4th fret on the 5th string, which is the C sharp of the chord, the 3rd of the chord, which normally would be here, but by playing it here we have that note, but we can also now have the open 2nd and 1st strings. But what makes this kind of chord progression work is the fact that we're always using this low E string, this kind of pedal note. And then basically a kind of a D, although here it's kind of like this D shape, but we're playing it like this, which I guess works out as like a D6-9, again with this low E in the bass. But I've got my little finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and the open 2nd and 1st strings, and also the open low E. So I'll just refer to these as the basic sort of idea. So this is obviously the E. I'll just call this an A. And then this will be the D. And the sequence goes back to the A. And like I say, it's with this low E that's constantly running through, which builds that kind of tension as we're moving through, like, the harmony, but at the same time we have this constant low E. Like, the rhythm guitar, for example, sometimes will be playing So when you have those kind of pedal tones going, you're really building up the tension so that when things finally change or a new section kicks in, there's a much more like emotional punch. So the way I kind of pick through this, so I play my E major, and with the downstroke I kind of strum through this chord from the 6th, 5th, 4th and 3rd strings with a downstroke, then an upstroke for the open 2nd, the beat, then a downstroke on the 1st string again, which is fretted, part of our E major, then an upstroke for the open high E, and now we want the open 2nd string again. I play this with an upstroke, and the next two, this helps me to sort of push me into the next two strums, which I'll do, which is a down and an up. The down again is just like 6th, 5th, 4th and 3rd strings, and then the upstroke is basically just the open 2nd, 3rd string and 4th strings. And I'm not really thinking too hard about those strums, but it's just, those are just really to kind of connect the chords together, a little bit of glue. So if I was to move to the 2nd shape, do the same strumming pattern and picking pattern. then the third, the D shape. Back to the A. The most sort of tricky change is obviously the E to this A. We've got that kind of jump. And so it's using those kind of strums just at the end before the change. We can use that and just perhaps lighten up on the strums and even the fretting just to make that change. Even sometimes there, you might hammer down a little bit as we move back to that E. So perhaps in the beginning, if you know, these shapes are a little strange and new, don't worry about those final strums and use that little space to make the change, so you can actually change the chords kind of on the beat to where, you know, where they should be. You could even end the lick there and use that space then to practice the change. And the more comfortable you get with that, you can then kind of connect those with the strums. That's really what makes the difference between, you know, when you hear something and you're trying to pick out the details. The most stand-up parts, obviously, are the kind of melody notes here. But these little strums, although they're not as dominant, they're actually what connect and make everything more sort of cohesive. Right, so give that a try, and you know, if these shapes are new and you find, you know, sort of using your little finger this high and this kind of stretch, just, you know, stretch your fingers a little bit before, warm up a little bit, and, you know, don't play for too long. Just start to build up some muscle memory, and you know, you'll start to your fingers will start to adapt to these new shapes. Right, so, okay, I'll see you next time. Take care. Cheers.